Your greatest gift becomes your greatest curse when not used deliberately, consciously, because that gift is awareness. It is the universal gift of every individual, of every being. And perhaps you've heard the saying that where your attention goes, energy flows. And that is exactly the point that I'm making now, because that gift of awareness becomes a curse when your attention is investing energy into thought forms, into feelings, into beliefs, which are not what you consciously desire to experience, who you don't deliberately want to create yourself to be, or the reality that you wish to experience and manifest. So the gift of awareness, which is a power, infinite, immeasurable, magnificent, which literally births personalities, creates worlds, is also the curse which seems to contain you or limit you, confine you to an experience that you don't prefer. And we love to sort of oversimplify things and just say, well, just be here now, just be present. But the problem with that is that if you have practiced perceptions repeatedly for years and years, and those perceptions through practice have become paradigms, becomes a paradigm of the way that you see the world, the way that you see yourself. It becomes a perspective so kind of solid, so real, that the more you identify with that paradigm, that perspective, the more it starts to feel like who you are. It becomes your personality. And you see that story of who you think you are through time, through experience, becomes that history, that past, which seems so real, that seems to contain us into this person. But it's all through practice. It's all through repetition. It's all through taking that attention, that awareness, and investing it, accumulating energy around these thoughts, this construct of a personality that becomes a self-concept. And that is the one thing which keeps us from truly, deeply, profoundly experiencing this present moment as it is. Because what we think this is, all of this that's happening now, is actually a product, it's a projection of our past. It's emerging out of our personality, of the paradigm, that filter that we're seeing the world through, that we're perceiving reality through. And so how do you get beyond your own self-concept? By working backwards, by returning through the path that you took to get to where you are, by understanding those perceptions, those knots of identification, those beliefs, the thought forms, the feelings, which seem to define you, seem to contain you, seem to be so who you think you are. And by understanding where you picked up these concepts, where you bought into these beliefs, and why you continue to believe them, what you're actually getting out of them. Because if you are experiencing them and you're holding on to them, you are benefiting from them. And that requires honesty, an earnestness, a sincerity to really investigate, what must I be gaining from holding on to a belief that creates a reality that I don't prefer? And invariably it will be something to the effect of comfort or safety or security, a sort of position which maintains your sense of self. Because beyond that is the unknown. Beyond that is uncertainty, and the mind fears uncertainty because it doesn't understand it. It thinks that we survive by knowing what's happening, by knowing what's coming, by being in control. But that's all an illusion. The present moment is the unknown itself. And it is only for returning through the steps that you've taken to get to where you are, by understanding all of those limitations which you've accumulated, the beliefs that you've bought into, those perceptions which you've identified with, that you actually free yourself to take that leap of faith into the profound, utterly profound present moment, where you are always already free. And the power of that awareness is so palpable, is so powerful, that you will realize all of the ways in which you've been undermining yourself, betraying yourself, dishonoring yourself, by identifying with such small ideas, such limited notions, cutting off the possibilities of your potential, by keeping yourself safe and small within this image, this self-concept, this predictable personality, which actually cuts you off from the present moment entirely. And you see, when you've reconciled that personality, when you've understood all of the aspects of that construct, then you are free. Free to be here now, to tap into the possibilities of this present moment, to access your potential, to create effortlessly, to manifest the reality that you desire, that you prefer, to experience all of the beautiful qualities that you are, that are always already here, but have been covered up by those perceptions that you've energized with your awareness. So it does require a diligence, a deliberateness. It requires a consciousness with that awareness, to discern through all of the delusions of who you're not, to remember who you truly are, and to reclaim that power that is always right there underneath everything that you say is, that you identify with. And you become free again. And you become like a child again. Spontaneous, playful, light, free, happy, joyful. Because you're not carrying the burden of a past which is not real, but just practiced out of ignorance, out of naivete. You've carried this story, but you can simply just put it down. And the question is, then who will you be? What will you create when you don't have that burden of trying to uphold that self-image, of trying to preserve that limited self? Who will you be when you're free of all of those limitations? Who is that limitless true self?